So thank you for joining us this morning. I'm going to introduce Stephanie. Stephanie began with the VFW in the admin ops on 5:30, so she's new with us. She's our assistant coordinator. Stephanie joined the military on her 17th birthday because she wanted to create a new life for herself. She served in the Army for 8 years with an MOS of 92A, automatic logistics. She served in both Iraq and Afghanistan. She received a Purple Heart through her service in Iraq. Stephanie is a member of the Post 5606 in Kansas City, Missouri, and she has 2 sons, 12 and 11. So everybody, let's give Stephanie a round of applause. It's all yours.
Today, I stand before you to commemorate and reflect upon the end of Operation Iraqi Freedom, a monumental chapter in the history of international relations. It is time to remember to honor the sacrifices made and to contemplate the lessons learned from this significant endeavor. Operation Iraqi Freedom began in 2003 with the aim of liberating the people of Iraq from the oppressive regime of Saddam Hussein and to eliminate the threat posed by its regime's weapons of mass destruction. The operation brought together a coalition of nations united in the commitment to freedom, democracy, and the pursuit of peace. It was a response to the urgent call for action driven by the desire to protect innocent lives and promote stability in the region. Over the course of the operation, countless men and women from the various nations answered the call. They displayed unwavering courage and selflessness, facing daunting challenges and putting their lives on the line to fulfill the mission. Their dedication and sacrifices will ever be remembered and honored. Key dates for OIF include March 2003, President George Bush announces U.S. forces have begun a military operation in Iraq. June 2003, Saddam's sons Uday and Qusay were killed by U.S. troops during a raid in the northern city of Mosul. December 2003, U.S. troops find Saddam hiding in a hole in Tikrit. January 2004, the Bush administration concedes its pre-arguments about extensive stockpiles of chemical, biological, and even nuclear weaponry in Saddam's Iraq appear to have been mistaken. David Kay, the former top U.S. weapons inspector, tells Congress, "We were almost all wrong." A presidential commission concluded in March of 2005 that not one bit of pre-war intelligence on Iraqi weapons of mass destruction panned out. 2005 was an election year for Iraq. Despite various violent and calculated attacks, later, Iraqis vote for the first time full-term government, giving the Shiites majority of control of parliament. November 2006, the trial of Saddam ends with a sentence of death by hanging. December 2006, Saddam goes to the gallows after a quarter century of brutal dictatorial rule. Bush says Saddam received the kind of justice he denied the victims of his brutal regime. A gallows is a structure for hanging of criminals. January 2007, Bush announces a new way forward in Iraq, vowing to commit an additional 20,000 troops to bring stability in and out around Baghdad. The Pentagon steps up its recruiting efforts in response. November 2007 provided a peak of number of U.S. service members in Iraq with 170+ thousand. The years that followed the initial phase of the operation were not without difficulties. In years since, there have been over 4,492 U.S. service members killed in Iraq, 32,292 U.S. service members wounded in Iraq. The transition to a new Iraq was marked by complex political, social, and security challenges, but through it all, the determination to build a free, prosperous, and inclusive Iraq prevailed. Progress was made in establishing democratic institutions, empowering the Iraq people and providing them with opportunities to shape their own future. As we reflect at the end of Operation Iraqi Freedom, December of 2011, we must also acknowledge the lessons learned from this war. We must always remember that the action should be guided by the principles of justice, respect for sovereignty, and promotion of human rights. We support Iraq's ongoing efforts to build a stable, secure, and prosperous nation free from the threats that they have plagued in the past. The Department of Defense estimated on how much the U.S. spent directly on the war in Iraq, and it was $728 billion. In closing, the end of Operation Iraqi serves as a reminder of the complexities of the world we live in. It reminds us of the sacrifices made by so many, the lives lost, and the challenges yet to overcome. Let us honor those sacrifices by maximizing our efforts to promote peace, foster understanding, and work towards a world where conflicts are resolved through dialogue. Thank you for your valuable time and attention.